Some professional Starcraft to the ESL Open Grand Finals, number 66 in the beautiful country of Europe. Now, these two youngins you may have seen before, and that's because their immense levels of skill and even more risk-breaking levels of APM have gotten them deep in all the tournaments you know and love, and probably many that you haven't actually noticed. But here, in what has been titled by Big Gabe himself, the Clem Weekly, I first bring you the challenger. He does also happen to be the world champion. Just saying. The Italian Stallion. From Team Clash, it's Reynor. And in the top right, redefining Terran Micro and making it look even more unachievable for me for several years, and now looking like a contender for the best Terran in the whole world. In the top right from Team Liquid, the Frenchman, it's Clem. Is that from the, well, currently representing the Mlem clan, as you can see there, unforgettable logo. Good thing his name can fit in the whole character limit, which gives us such great opportunities. And we're on a new season, a new map pool, yes. And I'm very excited. 2,000 atmospheres, so deep under the sea. And you know what happens when units die or knocked around or some other dramatic thing happens? No, they don't fall to the ground. They float up towards the surface, maybe passing Abyssal Reef on the way by. It took so long for us to take the dive back into maps like this, but I'm happy we have. So look forward to that. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of dramatic camera shots out of that. Reaper dancing. Clem's Reaper Micro. Second to none at this point. Reynor knows that. Wait, he lost a Zergling. Devastating loss. Reynor baiting out the Reaper. Gonna go for the creep tumor. Clem going deep in the paint! He wanted it so bad, and Reynor knew how bad he wanted it. Like, that is something Clem is essentially known for. That Reaper control, getting things he never deserves, but he works for anyways. Brenda and Karen zoning out. And the classic 3-3... Terran, they're so greedy now. Like, I guess you can get away. It's kind of been figured out. You can just kind of go 3cc, and unless the Zerg does some sort of dramatic... Like, Nidus is not the early mid-game option. It once was, because Nidus Worms can actually be killed now. Okay, the Reaper doesn't outdamage that. Clem's still very active with it, and probably will be until the last possible second when speed is about to finish. Hellions rallied across. Third CC is nearly done. And this will put... Like Clem's third CC is finishing faster than Reynor's third. Reynor's the Zerg player, in case you couldn't have figured that on out by now. Like... stereotypically, that's not supposed to be how it goes, but the Terrans keep getting away with it. Overlord glides in menacingly, feeling an extra weight off its non-existent shoulders because, of course, we're underwater. But the Overlord maintains its buoyancy perfectly no matter what environment we're in. What happens when it dies, though? Oh, yeah, I kind of just hung there, I guess. I don't know what I expected. But there you go. The Hellions looking for an opportunity. A Raven is the choice out of Clem. Just really looking towards the late. You don't make a Raven in this matchup unless you're just looking to essentially deny creep, have harassment options. It's the most middle of the road. It spends a lot of your gas. It actually, in a weird turn, kind of gives away you're probably not going mech. As if you are going mech, you usually open up with something like either a Viking to deny scouting, or Banshees, which just complement the lack of other anti-ground options pretty well early on. Well, the Raven leading the charge. Clem gonna keep control of that creep. These... Okay. I was trying to... I was gonna say young stallions, but that sounded really weird. And then I said it anyways. But both these players well known for second-hand carpal tunnel-inducing levels of APM. Easily we could easily see over 1,000 average between them this game. So Clem, of course, keeping up on his build back at home. You see more barracks being added on. Reynor zoning out with Zerglings. The Queen's not quite in position to block, but the Evo Chamber is. Reynor waits till the last second, still loses 2 drones, and Clem gets out. What happened? Where's the Raven? The Raven went home, I think, to get repaired, and then it didn't. It only got half repaired, I guess. You really got to stop going to those chop shops with the SCVs that are just looking to make a buck off you. But auto turret chimes in, and Susan burnt to a crisp, and Karen down for the count. Brenda, though, very safely staying back on the other side by the creep. You can tell because she has the most energy because she doesn't waste it on silly things like creep tumors that are going to be killed by someone with a rate. No, not the OV. All right. Hard to tell the difference. Short-sighted, or is it nearsighted? I don't know. Whichever one makes it hard to tell an OV for a Raven. Maybe get a new prescription, but refraction and all that under the sea is a real issue. Okay, where did the Raven go? The Raven finally came back, a 1 SCV. You couldn't spare any more than that, Clem? Okay. Anyways, double drop. The supply looking really rough, but the upgrades are about even. At this point, this is when both players are building up. Both players are kind of jockeying for position here. Reynor doesn't want to lose anything to the double drop, but needs the 4th base for Larva. And especially with 72 drones online, you need that sort of larva and economy in order to match the fact that Clem is coming across the map with 5 racks, adding a second factory here. The Queen's being chased down. Hellbat's on the way. Hellbat's seen a resurgence lately as well. On the creep here, Baneling speed still halfway done. Clem up 20 supply. Springboarding off that 3rd command, but Clem looking the wrong way for a second, losing a bit. Meanwhile, the drop tries to come into the 4th, but Reynor already had enough there to maintain it. Widowmine eats a Queen, knocks her out of the fight, but that's the best case scenario, as the Queen tanked the shot for the Banelings, which actually forced Clem back. Reynor holding the line. Clem's double-pronged attack that he was feeling very confident. You could tell diving onto creep, he really thought he would get more done. Wow, pretty nasty positioning there, but Reynor preempted it, blocked him at both turns. Clem not done yet. The creep has receded almost all the way back to the 3rd. Reynor's not done, he's just treading water right now, if you would. Meanwhile, drop at the back, gonna be taken out, but a few Marines get out, and a few Marines could be more than enough to do some economic damage. Right now, Reynor's still sitting in the 70s of drones, but the Lings went to the main, and that means there's not that many here near the 3rd. +2 attack versus +2 carapace starting. Widowmine shot goes through. The knitting crew has to hold it together. Oh, the target fire! Only 1 Baneling connects. Clem turns on his aimbot and knocks out the Banelings. Another one. He doesn't have the opportunity to actually target them down. He didn't notice. But the target fire, those Marines just don't look very fair. Oh, why don't my Marines do that? Clem. Still, he's playing with fire here. With those Banelings closing in, he's driven the creep back. He can easily pick apart the Banelings off a creep. But trying to outflank is Reynor. The Widowmine finds a hit, and Clem is already hitting him from the left flank. Moving his way through. A whole lot of Banelings have to come down, but the Widowmines, they do have drilling claws. None of them finding good connections. Another drop on the right is going to be denied. And Clem is yet again forced back by a Reynor who's now down over 30 supply. Clem has a 4th. He's got 2-2 on the way, but so does Reynor. It keeps looking like Reynor's on the edge of breaking, but at no point has he lost anything significant. He's been trading, and he's been under pressure, and one key point is he hasn't been able to counterattack He hasn't been able to find any sort of counter damage. Dorito dusting the Ling, says Clem, throwing out another of all those useful Raven abilities. Drilling Claws, though, Widowmine's closing in, and Widowmine's going to make it very difficult for even someone the level of Reynor to make the difference here. More Widowmines, the minefield. I don't even know if Reynor knows what Minesweeper is because he grew up with the internet, and at this point, Clem is moving in, tearing through the Queens. The back line is nearly gone. Another Widowmine is taken out, but Medivacs for all the Marines left over. Splitting back, another mine. Reynor's forces, how does he seem to just barely have enough every time? The Banelings are closing in, Marines getting knocked up to the surface, and the Medivacs now do in fact outnumber the Marines. SCV is here for moral support. We'll be pulling back. Reynor holds again, but at what cost? The momentum, is that 10 swarm hosts? I'm sorry, what the fuck? I don't, what? Reynor, what? Why? I mean, okay, that's maybe a counter to mines? I don't, okay. Well, that's an interesting, that's happening. The problem is Clem already has so much momentum, and, well, that, the problem is, in that scenario against Terran, if you lose momentum, if you're not able to get any counters, Clem's not gonna slip. Alright, he might lose a few Marines here or there, but he's not stopping the production. So when you trade Lings and Banelings for Marines, that's a delaying action, not a long-term tactic. I have no idea whether or not the Swarm Hosts were an actual strategy, or if they were just throwing something out there because he couldn't get to Hive. But I really wanted the game to go on another, 1 minute and find out. Because I'm thinking, on paper, maybe the Swarm Hosts are worth. If you can use the Swarm Host to essentially clear a minefield, and they have about the same cooldown as mines, it's not it wasn't Ricky the Misclick showing up whenever you happen to have an infestation pit. The one Swarm, that was 10 Swarm Hosts he was building. So either Reynor is just that fast and had that much money in the bank, or it was the... Jimmy, go to the game! Game 2. That was, an interesting experience. Clem just hit the ground running, and he never really stopped. At no point, I don't know if a single SCV was killed. The Zerglings never got anywhere. It was all Clem the entire game, with no interruption. Always with something on Reynor's side of the map. It does feel like, as a Zerg, some Zergs just try to go toe-to-toe. Like, Reynor knew he was going 3CC. Do you try to stop him? Or do you look for, because that's also something that's built in. It's baked into the build. Is you go for, you see a 3CC, but they have an option for a Banshee, potentially. A Banshee shuts down a lot of light to medium aggression, like Lings, Banes, Roaches. And if you go for something heavier, like a Queen, either Nidus or just a Queen push outright, that's all in. That's something that if they do put together a defense, there's not much to fall back on. So, at the end of the day, I don't actually know. I haven't seen a consistent... Well, there's a reason that Terrans keep getting away with the 3CC. It's because no Zergs seem to have a consistent and successful response to it. So, if it works, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. So, here we are. Wait, is he getting a drone? Oh my god. He picked out the drone in the stack. And the one that couldn't dodge because it was actually close to... He just gets in and he... Clem the assassin. And of course, and behind this, Clem is going 3cc because that's what we do now. This is just the build now. No third for Reynor. No attempt even yet. I mean, with Clem's Reaper... Oh, it's by. And there's no queen here. Correctly predicting. And he might get a drone. Oh, the grenade! Almost... Wait, was he able to build over the grenade or... Clem threw a grenade intending to try to block the drone. He doesn't get out with that. No, he dies. They can die. It's important to note. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so subverting expectations is Clem. Instead of going for the 1-1-1. So this is something that if Reynor, I think that's why Clem sacrificed the Reaper. Because if Reynor was going for some sort of big all-in, it actually is much harder to defend with just Marines. Wing, Roach, or anything along those lines, if you have Hellion Banshee, you've already got the response. So Clem made the choice to sacrifice his Reaper to confirm it wasn't some sort of early all-in, because he's not going for a starport. He is going for a slightly delayed 2-1-1. Now, for reference, a 2-1-1 on 2 base, the Beyond style that Diamond players have learned once and never stopped doing, hits at about just over 5 minutes. Clem slipped a third command center into the build, and is only going to be about 15 seconds later. That is how well managed these builds are now. Clem is quite good at this video game that I know of. 2 NG base on the way behind it. Upgrades on the way as well. Wait, is that a Roach? The Roach Warren. Reynor going... Like, this is Roaches with intent. A brick build to throw through Clem's window. He's gonna get the upgrades quicker. He should be getting Roach speed. Like, now. Reynor! Hello? Why is he not getting Roach speed? If he's gonna go for the Roaches. Oh, the double drop. Well, this might be why. The double drops here. Not building any Roaches still is Reynor. He's showing the Zerglings. He does have speed for them. Meanwhile, Clem just slaps down. Look, the worker count is almost even. And during all this... Does Clem just go... Oh, come on, Clem! Come on! Oh! That was Clem in a nutshell right there. Like... Was it worth the risk? No Marine left behind. Oh. One's on the way behind it, but does pull back. Meanwhile, there's still no Roach speed. Like, you can't build Roaches without Roach speed. That's just a mistake. This is just a mistake. Reynor! As soon as he sees his Roaches, he's gonna get it. Let me see if I can pick out the timing. Right now. Move the Roaches more than a little. He didn't actually look at the Roaches moving. Reynor. He sees it. Oh. How do you not notice at this point? Oh, they're so slow. Reynor! He's doing a no Roach speed challenge. Reynor! How does he not? I don't like... So Reynor is human. Or maybe he's actually doing a no... No, the build is so figured out, Winter, he doesn't know. He just 100% forgot Roach speed. And that's a huge deal when dealing with Clem. Having this, like, if he had Roach speed, he could probably jump this army right now. I'm not sure if Clem even realizes this is Roaches yet. He hasn't seen the Roach Warren. He hasn't seen the Roaches themselves. He sees them now. He's like, oh, whoa. What are those? Unfortunately, though, despite the lack of speed, Clem doesn't have anything at his third. He has a tank on the high ground now. Meanwhile, oh, Clem stimming and just running through. Good luck with those corrosive biles. Actually, no, Clem's losing on both fronts. I thought he was being clever. No, this was a mistake. He fought into the Roach Ravager. Suddenly, he's lost all the SCVs at his third. He's been driven back, forced to lift. Meanwhile, during all of this, like, it's not like Reynor's been slowing down at all. And Branda! On the way! The scan, yeah, it's rough, Clem. Now, he whittled down the roaches somewhat, and his unit composition is way better. The armory's a little slower. The tank's getting great shots, actually clips a medevac and kills it, but not killing the tank is a big deal. You really need to kill the tank if you're Reynor. He's feeling pretty all in with this, but... Oh, he's just missing his shots here with the corrosive bile, which is a huge problem. Like, he really needs to not be missing his shots on the tanks. I'm very surprised to see that, because that's giving Clem an opportunity to gun down the queens, and they turn their backs slowly. That's the problem. Yeah, Reynor missing... The tank's getting 4 or 5 more shots off may in fact have changed this game and kept Clem in it. It looked like for a moment Clem might just get run over. But instead, now, even with Roach speed done, 2-2's on the way, Clem. You don't want to fight a low economy game against a very mobile Terran. You don't have a lot of built-in anti-air with Ravager Roach, especially when your queens are across the map. The tank count is getting a little high here. The tank's finding shots. Corrosive bile forced to be used on the tank. Another one. Clem getting driven back again. The queens slowly being whittled down. Some transfuses. But Reynor's attack, I mean, he's trickling roaches across. The main base is about to mine out. Some SCVs feeling very abandoned right now at the third. But overall, Clem holds the line. Reynor not quite landing the killing blow, but despite all this, Reynor does have a fourth. He has a hive just now started. His 2-2s in a pretty timely manner, though Clem is going to have 2-2. The advantage still goes heavily to Reynor. But not the game. Not yet. A couple Liberators looking for an opportunity, but the queen count... wait, that's all 3 queens there on the screen. Alright. The queen count has been whittled down somewhat, unfortunately. And Reynor is severely lacking in anti-air, and there's no anti-air coming. The thing is, Clem can't really risk moving out with medevac drops. Because if he sends 2 medevacs and marines out, he may just die when Reynor throws the brick through his window. 100 roaches, well not 100, but 50 roaches are a lot to contend with, even with such a good defensive position. Clem did maintain all his command centers as well. It's hard to kill the lifted command centers in that scenario. So he's holding on, fighting as long of a delaying action as he can. Liberator gets knocked down. But essentially, Clem has to figure out when the best time to attack is. Reynor is going to stabilize his economy. He is going to go towards Hive Tech. And Clem is not... Like, he just finished 2-2. So either you go for late game, like Liberator range, like Ghost, or you fight with 2-2. Oh, wait. The scan missed the army because the army's right here. Reynor ain't waiting. But pulling back, Corrosive Bile, finds a medevac. Oh, great splits! Does he have concussive shells? Yes, he does. He breaks the knees of those roaches as they scuttle away. And this is not going to get easier for Reynor. He's got a Lurker Den coming up, which means he has a Hydra Den somewhere, but no Hydra upgrades. The closer Clem gets to maxed out, the harder it's going to be. Honestly, really, for both players, because right now Clem does need to force Reynor into a bad fight, but he's not maxed out himself. The tanks are dangerous, but they don't have any upgrades yet. Just stepping forward, and the Viper's blinding cloud could change everything. It does! With 4 tanks blinded, unable to contribute. That's just not enough bio to turn the tides here. The blinding clouds are over, but the bio count is just too low. Reynor loses a lot, but immediately replaces it. 13 Hydras on the way. Clem needs to take these fights, but he just lost most of his tanks. The Bile Army, though, the Corrosive Bile, finding some connections, but Clem just stepping right past it. You gonna shotgun blast yourself? Clem knows when to pick a fight. No, Reynor, what are you doing? He's consuming the hatch that's about to be the target. The Corrosive Biles, there's no lurkers yet. The lurker upgrades are on the way, but I don't think he's built a single one. Parasitic Bomb, Clem can split medevacs even easier than he can split Marines. Good luck with that. A little bit of a questionable choice to consume there, but he does want the energy. He's going for the other hatch. Oh yeah, much better target. Thanks, Reynor. The supplies are getting dangerously close to even, but Reynor is getting a better army. He's starting to get lurkers. He's got Vipers. His 3/3s on the way. The base is potentially vulnerable. The lurkers show up, and even without upgrades, they're going to force Clem back. Clem does have a 4th, going on a 5th. Targets the base, softened up by Reynor himself, and Clem will now find himself actually ahead on bases. He just landed his 5th, but now he has lurkers to deal with. A Ghost Academy on the way. +3 attack is closing in for both sides, and it's quicker for Reynor. Oh, good Parasitic Bomb, fighting a lot of damage. Forces the split on the medevacs, but it's quite late. Could be targeted down by Hydras. The Hydra upgrades aren't there. More tanks coming in. Dunks the lurkers down. He has the range, but he doesn't have the burrow speed, so it's a little harder to reposition them. The upgrades are close. Can Clem actually fight this? A good slice. He trades for the lurkers, but at what cost? A couple tanks on the high ground. The medevacs still keeping things together. The lurkers are closing the distance, and Clem is dropping in supply. Reynor beats Clem back. Gets a few bloody noses for it. And Clem is forced to tack up and expand outwards. But at the end of the day, it's still, I give a slight advantage to Reynor, but he doesn't have that much creep. Looking to fix that now. Oh, look at that scan. Ah, beautiful scan. Getting as much info as possible, still scouting if there's a base there. Yes, there's an art to it. It's not a very complicated art, but there's an art. Couple Zerglings come by. Clem, not maxed. He's preempting a tank spread. He knows that Reynor's going to see the army moving and move forward. And Reynor does. But who's flanking who will become the question very quickly. The Vipers have near full energy. Binding Cloud dangerous. The lurkers are in range. Stepping forward. Yanks a tank. Shredded by the lurkers. Lurkers still a very, very significant issue here. That is a lot. Snipes one of the Vipers. Snipes another. The Liberator helping out a bit. The Vipers trying to hold the line. He goes for the split and stim. I actually don't know if this is going to be enough. Yanks the tank into the front lines, but that might just help out its efforts. Yeah, I don't know if that's helping, Reynor. He brought the tank into lurker range there, which may actually cause him to lose his lurkers, but Clem, he picked a fight. He lost the base, and now no tanks left in the bank. He just has ghosts, which, while scary, are not a significant threat against this much Hydraling. Clem is struggling now. He lost a lot of the meat and potatoes here. He just has the salad dressing, which you also put on meat and potatoes, I assume, in this scenario. But the firing line, the firing squad, and the planetary, a good tag team duo. More snipes coming out, stands his ground. You gotta be careful with those things. The lurkers have a lot of range, but Clem picking fights and winning them when he can. But there's, well, that's just a few Zerglings. Reynor's starting to expand forward. He's not giving Clem the breathing room to move around. The tanks are, they do outrange lurkers, but not by enough to be comfortable. The planetary has to be repaired. Reynor's sitting on 96 drones, which means his actual army supply is quite low. More lurkers morphing right in Clem's front yard, which is a bit ambitious. Reinforcements cut off the Zerglings, and Clem not ready to give it up quite yet. Yanks are ghosted. A very, very stressful situation. Snipes out another lurker. The lurker count is down to 1. That is not as many lurkers as Reynor once had. He's managed to lose 24 lurkers this game, which is quite an achievement. looking for snipes. He doesn't actually have the energy to snipe. He's kept his ghost alive for so long, but the lurkers will be done. And without the ghost there, they can't just drink a Red Bull. Unless, I don't know if Red Bull sponsors Team Liquid, but if not, they should. Hashtag Bull Liquid. Actually, I think that's what they make it out of. Anyways, moving on. Moving on. Lurkers on the way. The lurkers interrupting this. Like, what are you doing? I don't... Meanwhile, the bio army gonna try to hold the line for the tanks. The lurkers moving forward. The ghosts couldn't line up their shots. Trying to find more. Some snipes go off, but the lurkers are closing the distance. Clem getting body blocked by Zerglings. He has to pick up and he has to retreat. Whoa, wait, does he just go? I don't know about this one. The lurkers ripping through, eviscerating the mineral line, but another fight that Clem can win. How much will he lose in the process? Clem still not out of the game, 19 minutes in. He just keeps losing so much, but also, no, watch out, one lurker! Oh no. I don't know how many scans there are. He's using all his energy. He has, one of his orbitals is in flight right now, and the other two are very, very, well, they're stretched pretty widely right now. And that's a way to phrase it. Uncomfortable, just like not having scans for lurkers. But the Liberators, the Vipers, could abduct them out of this, but actually this creates an awkward scenario. Clem finds a fight. There's so many lurkers, though. He needs to have both, like... Man, the ghosts are not bad at all against just Zergling counterattacks. One tank gets taken out. Clem really trying to hold the line on both fronts. Reynor, despite all of this, and throwing away so many lurkers, he's fighting a war of attrition, and he's winning. And right now, Clem is struggling to keep his supply above 100, whereas Reynor's trying to figure out what to max out on. Oh, the rally points are rough. The Zergling count is too damn high. Still 82 drones. The Liberators whittled down a few. But right now, the income is quite dramatically in favor of Reynor. You see there, which I learned, this is 500. And then for gas, it's plus 200 is the little arrows on this UI. So sleek, but also maybe a little too minimalistic in some scenarios, much like essentially all of technology in 2021. Moving on. The Zerglings surround and murder. The tank not discriminating. Clem still alive. I think I could just add that at the end of a... Oh, the command center thought it could land there. Oh, in for a rude awakening. There's just not enough units. Full energy Vipers. Too many Langs. I think this one's going to be a little bit too much for Clem to handle. He's out of minerals. He's losing the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Reynor's full front attack. Shredding his economy, his army, and his dreams. GG. Reynor ties it up in game 2. Striking back. The awkward Roach Ravager. Clem trying to have it all. Clem tried to fight on multiple fronts against an army that was just too large. It's a brick strat. There's not a lot of finesse to Roaches and Ravagers. But that there doesn't need to be. Alright, they just muscle their way into the front lines. And Clem just simply didn't have enough boots on the ground. You saw him trying to micro on multiple fronts, but there's not much to micro against. It's just the sheer amount, the biomass of Roaches against the not so massy bio of Clem. Okay, moving on. Game 3, all tied up. A lot of moving on being done in this series, but that's just how fast these players are playing. I'm surprised we don't see any SCVs out on the map. You know what I mean. Like and subscribe if you like Proxy Rexes. Wow, it took like an hour before we... Well, those games were... Maybe people stuck around this far. Then they're like, oh my god, why does he have his face on the screen? Okay. This bottom left corner is where I see all the micro happen. And he's taking up that... Nobody wants to see it, and that's fair. That's fair, okay? Well, then... One Rax expand against Hatch first. Have we seen this story before? TVZ is really... Clem did mix it up with the double drop. I honestly, like, I wonder if we'll see Roach Ravager back in action. It felt like Reynor didn't even do as well as he could have. Obviously, getting Roach speed too late is not ideal. He probably could have executed the attacks better, but the more long-term, high-economy Roach, it kind of was phased out a while ago. Mostly because players like Clem are so good at microing against it, but Clem obviously wasn't prepared for the sheer magnitude of Roaches, and it took him far too long to call for an exterminator, as the lurkers were the only thing that prompted that. Clem is just so deep with the Reaper. He's just all up in there. And there being the mineral line. Don't do it. Alright. You know he wants it so bad. And Reynor knows he wants it. Which creates an interesting will they won't they relationship between the Reaper and the Queen. I don't think they will. But you never know with these two. What is that? A starport before a third command center? Is that legal? Is he allowed to just build a starport like it's 2019? What is he doing? Clem, you wild man. What a crazy variant. No, don't. Oh my, you know he wants it. You know he looks at that creep tumor and he's like, I'm gonna get you. The creep tumor's like, nah-uh. The queens are like, nah-uh. And then the Hellions show up, they're like, mm-hmm. And that's actually how it goes. Okay, you guys don't really hear that. You gotta zoom in to hear it. But Hellbats. Don't scan. Yeah, he's thinking. So every time nowadays I see players go Hellbats, what Zerg players like to do, Reynor, one of the leaders, if not the leader of the hashtag YasQueens movement, understanding that all you need, a tier and code S unit in the early game. Queens. What am I watching? 3 Zerglings get in. And Clem showing up, 2 Marines getting involved. Hellbats, but Brenda, no! The body block of the Marines! That's not how you're supposed to start this! The Marines drop behind the Queens to body block them into the fire and the flames. A little too far forward. The counterattack might have been distracting Reynor as well, but the problem is, at the end of the day, oh, the medevac goes down, the Queens spread. And, yep. I mean, it was a good start, but then, like, 6 more Queens showed up. Like, yeah, where you going? And you stay out. Well, yeah, that's what I'm used to seeing. So the thing is here, Clem didn't even have a 3rd CC. So I feel like every month we need to continue to check, like, is our Hellbat builds ever gonna work again? And nope, no. The answer is no. But I'm glad we got that checked out. Like, it's like paying the water bill. It's like, Hellbats? No. No. Okay. Moving on. Like, one person's gonna go for, like, some crazy Zergling play in Diamond and be like, look, when they only have 3 Queens and no micro, it worked. No, well, Reynor has all of the micro and like a dozen queens per game. He's got 8 queens, and he's building more. He already lost... Oh, he only lost 1 earlier. He's got 1-1 on the way. Clem is just straight up... It's not cheap to go for that Hellbat attack. Getting the armory early, as well as just building the Hellions, slowed down the 3rd command center. And additional production. So Reynor just now has more drones and better upgrades. It looks like Clem really wants to get some drones, but he's going, nope, we don't like your kind around here. Wait, didn't we teach you? How many times do we gotta teach you this lesson, Hellions? Apparently at least 1 more, but I don't... all of the queens are... Well, is there cloak? There is cloak. Quite a late cloak, but as they say, the late cloak is better than no cloak at all, Emperor. It's like, I don't need a cloak. It's like, okay, this is a bit of a deal. Is somebody gonna tell him he's not wearing a cloak? Okay, never mind. Maybe talk to the queen. Don't talk to the queens. Don't speak. Hello! Oh, too much role-playing done this week. Go check out the Stellaris playthrough, where we talk all about the Emperor and royalty, and it's very, it's something indeed. Meanwhile, Aspire on the way. Clem just has, well, Clem's put together a pretty solid amount of Marines, but Reynor already has 1-1 done. We'll be slapping on that 2-2 immediately, as one do. Well, there's a... Yeah, he starts 2-2 that moment. Clem at least has an armory done when we get to that. Clem doesn't have 1-1, and he doesn't have combat shield. That lack of combat shield makes him very vulnerable. The queens have a ton of energy. 1 tank on the high ground ain't gonna stop this. The Hellions finally killed for their transgressions. The tank, the only thing keeping Clem from getting fully routed here. And yeah, Reynor just bats that down. Clem still, and now Reynor, with this sort of economy, he can counterattack. Or go for the flank, either way. Looks like he's going to do a little bit of wrap around the back. Bring the queens up. The tank can't figure out what it wants. Keeps getting retargeted. Gonna be taken out. Clem forced back. A rare moment of indecision with those medevacs. Like, I don't know. That did not go well. He starts 2-2 immediately, but he's still going to be at a disadvantage. You really think Clem's going to miss that? He's not going to miss that. Oh my god. Oh, wow. Oh, he really knows his Marines. Oh. Sometimes the best way backwards is forwards, but it's a real risky line. Oh, Octorax play coming in. 8 barracks with add-ons. So Clem going to be really... spamming those Marines. And here we go. Clem's specialty. Reynor's supply blocked awkwardly at 158, which means his army supply is actually significantly smaller than that of Clem right now, who's going to do a cure-like tank push. I tried to zoom out even more to see the entire spread of this. That's how... I can't believe it's not butter. Yeah, so enough reinforcements at home, but no turrets! Classic mistake, Clem. Relying a little too much on just zoning out with Marines and a little too little on good old-fashioned turrets, and silver players all throughout the world after liking and subscribing are shaking their head. Being like, I told you, Clem, I typed out in the middle of the game, because they have a tendency to do that turrets are actually a very good thing. And you know what? Clem maybe should have listened. I put a whole essay in Twitch chat. Why don't you read it? Oh, Muta risk indeed. Clem cuts him off on the way back. Reynor, yeah, and that 3 Mutas dying almost balances out all the damage they did on the other side. Now, at least he has something to deal with the Marines, but Clem is nearly maxed out 2-2, even across the board. Reynor not seeming to have enough to crush this attack, and as time goes on, the army supply differential gonna make things more difficult. Reynor's gotta go now so he can refill with another wave. He just started a hive. He's building more banelings. He needs an overwhelming amount of army or a dramatic counterattack. And it looks like he's chosen the second one. Because right now, Clem is not actually threatening any bases directly. Here come the turret is actually a great wall here. The turret, the real hero. Another reason to build turrets. As the turret actually blocks most of the Lings and Banes enough to make this way easier. The Banelings finding connections as Clem's attention is obviously on the other side of the map. But Clem with still an incredible tank spread. He's looking really good here. Not showing any of the indecision and weakness as earlier this game. But he knows what he's dealing with. It's mutas, lings, the queens! Holding the line! Enough! And now finally finding the refill, the trigger, and he pulls it. Goes for the tanks. Banelings rolling through. The mutas finding the medevacs, but Clem holds his ground and returns fire. Cloaked Banshees getting involved. Banelings rolling through again, but off the creep, not finding the connections. One Banshee goes down, but Clem continues his march. He still has a fourth base behind. Another one. Another Banshee targeted. Clem's tanks are right up in Reynor's grill and returning fire on the queens that their Hellion brothers were so brutally murdered, slowly, as queens do. Most things they do are slow, but very methodical. Earlier, the tanks will get their revenge. And suddenly, Reynor forced to pull back. He's expanding to the south. He knew that he might need another base, and suddenly Reynor, he does get an Ultralisk cavern, but Ultralisks are a good unit for people who are already winning, not for one who are in desperate straits. Reynor not quite there yet. But with 3-3 on the way for Clem, the turret was never finished! The bureaucratic red tape was too much! Clem still microing on the other side. Reynor keeping the mutas intact, forcing the reinforcements back, and these mutas are what are keeping Reynor in the game right now, for better or for worse. He snipes a few more SCVs. Clem doesn't really have the economy to maintain much more than this. If he loses more than a dozen more SCVs, he's kind of forced into an awkwardly all-in scenario. The mutas must be dealt with, but right now they're playing their hand nicely. The engineering bay is potentially vulnerable to push towards the front. The queens, what have survived, still holding the line, creating quite a buffer. Meanwhile, mutas on the only turret at the fore. The SCVs holding. A lot of them will die, but that's a sacrifice Clem is with. Then they just kind of gave up at the end. But just enough in time. Meanwhile, the Marines are moving through. Banelings connecting. Mutas whittled down. Another turret has to be built. How is Clem even moving through here? He doesn't have that many tanks left. I don't know what the muta count is, as both these players fight brutal battles on both sides of the map. Clem's still at 50 SCVs, but no turret in the third. Reynor swings around again, but his own third is vulnerable as Clem presses forward. The tank spread looking good, but almost nothing else but the tanks. And the Zerglings should be able to clean it up with no reinforcements. The Banelings could swing over to the right. 25 SCVs in the last minute. Zerglings continue their attack forward. The reinforcements, if ever brought to bear, could be devastating for Reynor, but he's got 3 Ultras on the way, and Chitin is plating in production. Muta's on the third again, and that's just too much. Clem, his economic back broken and his tank push exposed. He was on the edge of a knife throughout that game, but Reynor's mutas is multitasking, ending the game at a casual 569 actions per minute. Bring him through, and that brings Reynor to match point. Fighting hard for the ESL Open Cup finals. And we're going into my favorite new map, Blackburn, which has some very exciting games. And definitely a new one. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. But Clem still, Clem got beat down in the early game there. That we have confirmed still for the 58th time that Hellbats are not going to cut it. Hellbats not really a choice in the early game. But, okay, we got a quick advertising. We're on match point. We got to thank our sponsors. Thank you for watching. Quick advertising break, and we'll be right back. Hey everybody, are you enjoying this series? Well, let me interrupt you to say, if you want to enjoy more series like this one, you should like and subscribe, and ring the bell, and leave a comment, and do anything to prove to our corporate overlords and our Zerg overlords that they should give me money So, do all that, and everything will be great. And thanks, ESL, and thank you. Thank you guys for sticking around. The game, yes. What are we doing? Oh yeah, Starcraft. Reynor in the bottom left. Clem, let's do a little bit of a map tour here. Alright, here you find this dude hanging out. So, this is a vertically or horizontally symmetrical map. Essentially, you jam a line down the center and then you fold it in half. But the spawn locations are both to the bottom right and the bottom left. So you might think this makes it more of an air and drop focus map, but bubulas, those slowing I don't actually know, was it inhibitor zones? Inhibitor zones. Bubulas, the technical term, the scientific name, which slow potential egress and whatever the other word is that is the opposite of egress on each base. So getting in and getting out, always a struggle. But wait, there's more. Gold bases that could potentially be mined from both sides. And semi-island base in the center. On top of the fact that rocks block the path for anything but a direct attack through the double bubs, as we see here. The Grand Bubula Canyon, where if your army's a little too thick, you gotta be a little careful with it. But between all these very unique, well, relatively unique, we've seen it before, but it's there's been a lot of care put into the map to make it so it's not just cheese. Between all the things that keep you from just showing up at your opponent's base and the rocks early, there are a lot of options on the table. Going through multiple bubulas to get here with the caution, and suddenly is in Reynor's main. Very dramatic reveal. Reynor realizing this. Oh, Clem. Enjoy. It still got there pretty quick, well before the queen finished. Oh, gets a Zergling. The queen. Hey! Get out of here! This means... Oh, Reynor goes for an inject. Wait, are there... Oh, no, that's normal build. We're back to 3 CCs. I see 2 command centers at 2.5 minutes in the production tab. Classic Terran. Reynor is going for... He went for an inject first and not a creep tumor on that second queen. I'm not sure what to make of it. Hasn't really attempted a third either. Ah, double creep tumor follow-up. And yes, this early queen energy is something to take note of, as any deviation from the standard 1 creep tumor after the second queen finishes. So fun fact, when creep tumors... I'm not sure if these are close enough, but when creep tumors are within close proximity of each other, they spread faster. Now, since creep spread is pretty quick, it's been tweaked a few times, but it's not that big of a factor. It used to be more of a deal. And it maxes out at 2. You can't have like 10 creep tumors and instantly drop creep everywhere. That's an overload so far. Oh, so it was relevant. There's a lair. Interesting. Is this 2-base Muta? He's got a Baneling nest on the way, and that the fact that that's not a Roachmorn indicates to me... Are you going to get those gases, Reynor? You going to show us your hand? Mutalesk. Intriguing. So he is going to go for the air. And, how does this stack up? Clem is... Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, this is not good. This is bad for Reynor. Neither player knows it's bad for Reynor yet. But there's not going to be the queens. The double medevac is going to hit essentially right before a Spire finishes. Assuming he's going for one, which I'm not super... Oh, I think Reynor's seen the Marines. He sees the Marines, which is enough of a giveaway already. I don't know if Clem realizes there's an Ovi right there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Reynor sees the Marines. He's like, oh, no. He's banking gas right now, but he's not building a Spire because he knows that the double medevac is coming, that these two Hellions are just essentially a nod to potentially going Hellions and also needing something, but... Oh yeah, the Overlord. Well, if there were doubts before... I'm kind of surprised he doesn't just build the Spire as well. Like, you're not going to use it, but he has the gas. Oh, well this works. Ah! Yes, but unfortunately we were able to use our time travel technology to jump right past the drama. Unfortunately, it happened exactly when Reynor's Lings got into the base, so very awkward timing there. Wow, okay. But now the question is, will there be enough to defend? Reynor's still banking a lot of gas. The Bubula Canyon, slowing down the Marines. There is Baneling speed here, but the Queen's one gun down. A second. Not even a transfuse. Reynor. Use the Chew Toy Depot working perfectly, slowing Reynor down, and suddenly right in the middle. Both players are going to be beating each other directly in the face. But the saying goes, never base trade a Terran because, well, in this scenario, he's going to have to... Wait. Oh, that tanking so much. The split, the stim, the spread, and Reynor's probably dead. Oh my god. Reynor killed all the SCVs, and maybe some SCVs at the third. But Clem, they're still Marines. They're still Marines. Lings don't beat Marines with medevacs. They just don't. And especially not Clem's Marines with medevacs. And that brings us to match point. Clem? Reynor keeps trying different stuff. He's trying to mix it up. Unfortunately, we didn't get that dramatic Blackburn game. I think Reynor still should have gone for the Spire. But he obviously didn't want to go mutas into a double medevac drop. So, at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know if Reynor maybe doesn't feel comfortable playing a more long-winded game. But now we're here. All tied up. And these players quite evenly matched. Clem, if you give him a couple medevacs and a couple dozen Marines, the things he can do with those. Oh. It's cinematic level of Marine. Like, the kind of stuff that you only think happens in movies. It's like, these Marines will gun down 12 Banelings moving at high speed directly towards them, and then jump into the dropship only to drop out again perfectly in a spread that is preemptively countering the other 27 Banelings. And somehow, of them, half at least will survive. It's like, how do you counter 58 supply with 20? Well, there you go. Carbot showed us. A slow start. No proxies. No early game. That was the closest we had to early game cheese. Closely followed by the Hellbats. But when you build that many Zerglings, because there's a resource that a lot of players don't consider, especially in the early game, but it's super important. Larva. That's something that's in short supply early on. So if you invest dozens of your early larvae that isn't easy to come by in Zerglings, you've not just denied yourself drones because you spent the minerals, but that larva doesn't come back. It's not like you have a command center and a barracks. You have a hatchery, and that's it. So going for something like that from Reynor is you gotta get damage done. And killing 5 to 10 SCVs, I think actually got up to 15 or 20 by the end, is not a replacement for having a stable economy and defense. Alright, place your bets. How many command centers in the first 3 minutes? Factory begins. Keep an eye on Clem's minerals. Why not? Like, he's gonna do it again. And literally though, why not? None of these games have I seen a reason or an answer. Oh, almost getting a drone. I don't even know how the drones end up out there. The grenade somehow bounces them that far. Three. CC. Did he get the Tuma? No. It's an inject. I think Reynor's just... Last time he went for the double inject. He may try the Spire build. He didn't actually show it last time. Though Clem may have had an idea. Yeah. Clem going 3CC. Wait, is he going to follow up with the double racks? We can see him refining the build. I mean, he might already have it. But he justifies the double racks by scouting so diligently with the Reaper. The double racks' big weakness is a very early attack, like roaches, Lingbane, just something that hits before you get stimmed. Because you're not going to have a Banshee, you're not going to have a Starport. So, in order to cover that weakness, Clem goes in and risks maybe losing the Reaper, but seeing that many drones, seeing Zergling speed done, he doesn't see the lair, but he sees the lack of third, which is quite suspicious. But you can see Clem covering his bases literally and figuratively when it comes to executing his build. But now we're going to see Reynor with a quick lair. It's Mudas. Maybe he doesn't expect, like, it's going to be the same thing again. It's going to be potentially a lair, and in Reynor, well, I guarantee you he wanted to go muted. Otherwise, there's no reason to have 700 gas. Like, you just don't do that. Oh, come on with that. Calm down, Clem. I think this time Clem not going to make the mistake of showing his Marines either, though he is rallying them. How much does Reynor see?
Command center upgrade complete.
He sees the Marines. He sees, like, seeing more than one Marine literally at this time is enough. Seeing 5, you already know. He gets the Spire immediately. So now we see how this plays out. Wait, interesting. Clem is going for a Hellion backup. Gonna maximize the units. Less Medivacs, but... And Hellbats. Alright. Gonna mix and match a little here. Bit of flex Terran action. He's not gonna go... Wait, Brenda! Where are you going? Wait. Never mind. Brenda, carry on. Because... Tag team duo. But somehow Clem's gonna find it. Oh, Clem. Oh, come on, Clem. Boo! Boo! Clem needs to stop with this. How does he do it? I mean, that wasn't that ambitious of a creep tumor, but... Well, hello. Here's an attack. Stim is done. This is kind of... It's not really all in because he has 3 CCs. But neither side's going to have upgrades for a bit. And the Marine backup for the Hellbats is quite a thing. Reynor's supply block now, losing a few uncomfortable Ovies. Clem, holding the line. The Banelings, wow, forcing those Marines back, forcing a double stim. And now forcing the chase. Zerg, well, a grenade. I don't know if that one helped. Oh, he gets a pickup, but Reynor slaps it down. And yeah, Clem caught a little off guard by the Lingbane count. Not quite able to find. Hellbats, okay. Jimmy, can we... Hellbats still bad. Alright? Like, Hellbats still not good. People keep trying Hellbats. They're like, what if What if we put some mayonnaise on the Hellbats? We want mayonnaise. No, 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 it doesn't work. It's not working. None of these Hellbats are working. Like, stop trying to make hell. It's been like back in my day. We used to use Hellbats. Clem, you're 18. When was your day? I don't. Heart of the Swarm. Were you even allowed to play that? It's rated T for teen. Back then, when we didn't, well, even then, Widow Mines were. Widow Mines are Heart of the Swarm. Meanwhile, the Mutas show up. You might be like, well, Clem has plenty of Marines there. The problem is those Marines are back in the base. Combat shields. Oh no, Clem. Combat shields. That's a big deal. That's worse than forgetting road speed. He didn't get combat shields in a timely. He did not get it after stim. No combat shields is a huge deal. That means these Marines are one Baneling away from dying when they stim. Just one. No upgrades required. Like, maybe if he has +1 armor, it gets a little fuzzy, but it is a big deal not to have that. Picks off a Muta, but Clem still stuck in his base. Reynor adding a few more. His drone count isn't super high. He's prioritizing getting as many Mutas out in the field as he possibly can and showing up that creep spread. More on the way. Mutas getting chased, and Clem, yeah, probably feeling a little awkward without the combat shield, but gonna go to the edge of the creep at least, and Baneling speed is done. The Muta count is quite high. 14 Mutas, almost enough to one. I'm pretty sure that's enough to one-shot a mine. I'm not exactly sure the numbers on that, but it's nearing it. And the mines are a real threat. They're definitely not Hellbats. So, speaking of, there's still some Hellbats scattered in. They're like lentils, okay? It's like, why are they here? Yeah, well, we thought we needed something to really spice things up. Stop with the Hellbats! Build Widow Mines! Oh my god. Why do you... Oh, nice pick off there, but... No, this, like, the math doesn't check out. Well, the Widow Mine gets involved. Of course it does. It always do. Some reinforcements coming back. That's a lot of Mutas. Clem, though, getting shaved off and losing a lot of map control, but at the end of the day, he still has a good position in the front. Widow Mine's exhausted. Muta's joining up, but even more Marines. And suddenly, Reynor forced to turn tail and wings and rolls back onto the creep as Clem's Terran production line parading across the map. Across the map. Widow Mine's following up. Medevac still plenty of energy. Good spread to start. Upgrades even. Combat shield's done for a while now. Marines splitting back. The Widow Mine's uprooted before they even fire. Badly bruised but not dead yet. Reynor struggling to Oh no, the Banelings! The Widow Mine just microed so well onto the closest unit and hits the Banes. And suddenly Reynor's third and then his fourth, which I'm not even sure Clem knows about, is in jeopardy. The Mutas, he's supply blocked. The hatch is gone. Mutas aren't gonna cut it here. Well, the hatch isn't gone yet. He's got to make the hatch gone. The hatch should be gone now. The hatch! Hello! The hatch! Hello! Marauders! Look! Okay. Well. What a save! Well, that... I mean, I think he'll get it, but... This is the queen coming down like, oh my god, you lived? Like, it's still in a precarious position. The Widow Mine's still a real threat. Just enough Mutas to pick him off right now. Another transfuse. Reynor's still in a very tenuous position, but keeping that hatch alive for any amount more time is a pretty big deal. No, Widow Mine split. Good. That had that like 30 HP the hatch had could change everything. Reynor needs that. And it is so close. Like, Clem wants it. He's going deep in the paint here. The Widow Mines find some connections. That's a lot of Marines. Another round of Banelings. Queen taken out. Those Banelings need to solve everything. And there are a lot of questions. Meanwhile, on the Mutas, but another Widow Mine hit. Targeting down, but the Muta count just isn't high enough to fight the Marines. Reynor trying to hold the line, but Clem relentless. The production is too high, sacrificing Mutas. Clem tearing through everything, and at the end of the day, it's more than enough. Reynor falls never really finding an option or an opening for the mutas. Clem claiming his place in the Clem Weekly once again. And showing why it's so tough to go toe-to-toe. A great demonstration again. Well, even if you're a Zerg, you can't help but be impressed. So at the end of the day, if you did enjoy, like and subscribe and ring all of the bells and all that. Like, I don't even know how you're supposed to beat Widowmine's Winter, and I have no comment on that. But thank you to ESL, as always, for putting it on and sending out these beautiful games. And, of course, check out the players. They both stream occasionally. You should check it. And that's it. Yeah. Good luck. Have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.